Hello, and welcome to the Cup Ringside, where we give you the best seat in the house on almost all things wrestling, definitely all things WWE. I'm your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I loves me some tea. I'm currently just drinking a little bit of water because that's all I grabbed, wouldn't it? And that's not the most important thing, because the most important thing that I have right now is my cup mug. Period. Brooke got it back. Period. And you can get your cup mug. What's has one, by the way, but he just doesn't have it. Anyway, um, you can get your new and improved cup mug at lanag'screations.etsy.com. The link will be in the description below. And if you don't know why it's new and improved, it's because the logo is up here. Now the logo is on this side and on this side. So you can drink it and you still see the logo. So you can get that. Plus all of our other beautiful cup merch. So we do ship internationally and domestically. So there are no excuses, WWE Universe. I'm looking at you. Get your cup merch. Period.
And it's Brooke, the reigning and defending queen of the Cup Ringside here. My reign as queen is over halfway over, and that's a bummer. I want to be the monarch of the cup for a little bit longer. Unfortunately for me, I will have to defend my crown in May. Luckily for me, I'm going to keep it. Besides the point, we're looking a little too far ahead. It's still 2024, and Saturday night's main event just came and happened, and the year's basically over. So, why not give it a little bit of a look back? I was drinking water, and I finished it, and I have not grabbed another one. So currently, I am drinking air.
Period.
And also drinking air. I would say you know what it is, but you might not. It's been a while. What's up? It's Wes. I'm back to talk about some wrestling. And most importantly, we're looking at some old things. And so, I got to bring it back.
Well, first off, sir, I would like to make something abundantly clear. To all of our viewers at home, this is one of my best friends on the planet. I see him almost weekly. I have been asking him for months, yo, dude, when are you coming back on the podcast? It's been forever. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I didn't watch the entirety of like 3 WWE pay-per-views with you. Not at all. No, I didn't watch some of these PLEs and just not come to the recordings. No, not at all. But we have finally managed to get him in a game of podcast checkmate. He is now has to be here for this. So I'm happy you're here, buddy. We've missed you here at the Cup.
Indeed. Yeah, you can't see it. The gun is off screen. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm actually very thrilled to be back. And my school semester is finally over. And so that's left me with a little bit more spirits at 10 p.m. to maybe talk some wrestling.
Let's go. And also, the season of Survivor's over, which means we don't have to record super late anymore.
Yes, that is very true. That is the real tea, and the fourth wall has been broken, because the reason we're recording so late is because Survivor, I have to watch it, because guess who has to talk about it tomorrow? Me.
Have you watched it yet?
Yes.
I'm so happy with the outcome. Sorry.
Moving on, because we'll talk about all that tomorrow. I'm in wrestling mode. I'm ready to talk end of the year stuff, because 2024 is coming to an end, y'all. We got, 2 more weeks? And we are done with 2024. And what a year it has been in wrestling. We said this last year. We said going into 2024 that 2023 left us off with a very good start to a year of good wrestling. And I feel like 2024, and we were very optimistic about 2024. And I think it delivered. I want to say overall, 2024 has been overall has been a good year in wrestling. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, we've had some moments I'm like, what? Why? But it's still overall been a really good year. This is the first year that it's all been up to Triple H. Paul Levesque has been over creative the entire year, and we've seen changes. We've seen changes happening, and we're going to continue to see new changes happening even going into 2025. So let's talk about it. Well, before we get right into it, y'all know what to do. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscribe button. We got some new subscribers, so I appreciate you all subscribing. Continue to do that. Continue to share. We are a growing network here, trying to get our foot in the door of the wrestling talks. And so, if you know people who are wrestling fans, share this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Do all the things. Follow us on all of the socials that we have. Follow all of the links to everything will be in our description below, as well as our Patreon, our audio podcast links. All those things will be in the description below. So feel free to follow this channel and all of our other channels. We have 3 other channels you can follow. So follow all of our channels. Thanks. Y'all, 2024, wrapping up wrestling. We were here in this same position last year, talking about going into 2024 and our predictions. I have to say, I went back and watched it today, and I have to say, we were pretty spot on about a lot of things throughout the panel. We were pretty spot on about a lot of things that was going to happen in 2024.
I also watched that video today because we discussed it. Like, hey, let's do that predictions video. I was like, okay, I want to keep it fresh in my mind. I'm going to watch it this morning. And looking at it again, I mean, granted, we didn't get everything right. I think it's almost impossible to get everything right. But for the most part, outside of Money in the Bank, I think we did a pretty solid job at most of what we guessed. We got a lot of stuff right. So I'm pretty happy. Nobody got Money in the Bank right this past year. But quite frankly, I don't know how you could have, to be honest with you, especially the men's Money in the Bank match. Because that required the Punk injury. That required the Punk injury. It required the Drew McIntyre taking the CM Punk place at Mania. Like, there was a lot of things that needed to happen to get us there. But I'm not mad at that. And I think other than that, we were pretty solid on most of our other stuff.
Yep. I mean, listen, everyone has some misses except Westradamus, but he isn't here right now. And so, everyone has some misses, but we had a lot of things right. And Lana, I think you're right about, you said something about good old Paul, Mr. Levesque being the GOAT this year. We did have a lot of high hopes, and it's December. I have to say, I think the only thing I can say is pretty incredible. I mean, we're looking at some other brands. I won't name any names, but there's some other brands that are really underperforming this year to their standard. And I think WWE's reaching greater heights than they ever have. So gotta, if you're looking back as a WWE fan, which of course we all are, and of course those watching are, can't be mad.
I mean, I just want to talk about my favorite thing that came out of 2024. Not a match, not any of that. Just like a specific, like a thing that happened. The WWE partnership with TNA. Because Topher predicted that in our predictions last year. And we were all kind of like, are you sure about that? And I mean, we'll give Topher his flowers. He nailed it. Yeah. But I'm just like, it has been so good for both companies. We've seen a lot of stars from TNA come over into NXT. A lot of people have become super over in WWE already before they even signed their contracts over there, namely Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry.
Yep.
Yeah, and both of them have had some really cool exposure. We got to see Wes Lee turn heel on the Rascals, which was super cool.
Love that.
And like a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to get into fully because we don't have a ton of time. But I think that has been one of my favorite parts of the year. And, you were mentioning Paul Levesque being Booker of the Year. There's a real argument to be made that Shawn Michaels might have.
Oh, absolutely. I think Shawn Michaels has done such an amazing job with the booking over at NXT. Like, I might be controversial, but I think he might did a better job than Triple H. I'm putting it out there. I think only because, and I'll say this, not that Triple H has done a bad job, because that's not nearly the case. I think Shawn has such amazing talent in NXT. He has a lot to work with. And Triple H has just as much to work with. I just think Sean has a vision, and he's maybe seeing it a little differently than what Triple H is seeing. I don't know what it. Look, their brains are different. They two different people. They have two different ways of seeing it. To me, the booking at NXT has been a lot more exciting than it has been on the main roster.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'd say definitively better. I think they've both been fantastic this year. Personally, if I was going to look at both situations on the whole, and I was going to say which one made me smile throughout the year on a consistent basis more, I would probably pick NXT. But I will say, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Triple H left Shawn a really good place to build off from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I also think Triple H does have a harder job because he has to manage both shows, and they're both about to be longer than NXT again. And, you know, if something doesn't work at NXT, you just repackage them, throw them out, and then you're fine. You can have something new with it. You can't really do that on the main roster as easily. And he also has a lot more titles to juggle too, and that's a lot of mess going on up there. But I mean, they've both been very impressive this year, and I think it's made for one of the best years in company history, honestly, at least in recent times.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely you can feel the era. You can feel the peak of the era. You felt it in the attitude. You felt it not really in the PG, but, you know, you kind of felt when there was a peak in the PG era. And in the same way, I definitely feel like this is the peak of whatever era, you know, we want to call this. And there's a couple names I've seen floated around, but I have to point out, because this is looking back throughout the year, can we talk about Lana's growth on the podcast, going from not watching NXT to being the preferred show? What grow?
Don't drag her like that.
Huge.
Glad to see it.
That was a little of a gag, but you're right. You're right. I can't even do that. It is gross.
You ate.
You kind of ate that.
We
down.
are NXT enjoyers here, and that is awesome. I agree. If we're including NXT, which is of course WWE branded, but I think Shawn Michaels obviously killing it, giving so much talent, and you can see just how much talent is coming up to the main roster and how they're immediately utilizing them. I mean, we have shout outs this year of like Braun Breaker, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton. Are we kidding me? Like Carmelo Hayes,
period.
Yeah,
we could go on.
Insane. We could go on.
And guess what? Yeah, we
still
have an incredible amount of talent to pull from next year, which, you know, we might have to talk about at some point, but that's not the point of this video, which is, of course, we got to look at these predictions.
Wes kind of ate me up right there, but it's all right. I will take it, and I will deal with it, because that is true growth. I have now become an NXT girly. I kind of like it a little bit more sometimes. So, but it's fine. It's fine. Although it's harder for me to watch it now because CW is not on my network, but it's okay. It's okay. I watch it the next day on something, Hulu or something. I don't know, but it's good. But we're gonna get right into it because I feel like it's time to talk about. We've talked about what happened in 2024 and how we pretty much called it, but let's talk about how this year. The next year is going to play out. Shall we?
We shall.
Let's talk about our 2025 predictions. I feel like this was so cute. Okay.
I love it. It's adorable.
I love that. But anyway, let's go on to what we go to it like we did last year. We go start it how we started it last year. Who's winning Royal Rumble 2025? We started with the women last year, so let's start with the men this time. Who do we think is winning Royal Rumble 2025? Brooke, let's start with you.
Oh, that's great. Well, first off, I don't know if I've made this clear yet on the podcast. I'm going to be there. Wes is going to be there. We've got tickets. Like, the fact that we're going to see...
I'm trying to get there.
Again, if you're there, we're taking a picture. But, the fact that we're going to be at the Rumble, going to see someone punch their ticket to Mania is crazy to me.
Wild.
And I've been to live events before. I have been to a few, TV tapings, but nothing that was ever anything super important. Like, this is a piece of wrestling history that I am going to be able to witness live with Wes and two of our other really good friends. So we're really excited. I'm really excited to speak with Wes. When I told him I bought the tickets, he did kind of lose his mind just as much. As much as Wes loses his mind.
Of course, for the audience to know, this will be my first wrestling event ever. I have never been to an indie show, not a local show. I am been a TV Andy my entire TV watching wrestling career. So it is an interesting experience to be like, yeah, the first time I'm going to be sitting in a seat watching a ring, it's going to be the Royal Rumble.
In a freaking NFL stadium.
That's kind of huge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So
I love that for you. I love.
You'll definitely be seeing me again for that, for sure, at least. So
I love that for y'all. I love y'all get to experience Royal Rumble together. A huge event. I mean, I've been to some shows, some tapings, some TV shows, and some house shows. 3 WrestleManias, But who's counting? I've never been to a Royal Rumble, and that is on my bucket list to do. So hopefully I will join you all in Indianapolis. That is my prayers and thoughts. But Brook, who's winning?
This is a really hard call, I think. And I think this kind of comes down to, well, is The Rock going to be available or not? Dwayne is not winning the Rumble. I want to make that abundantly clear. Because I think I'm of two minds, okay? If Dwayne is available, right, and he is here and he is ready to go, I think he's going to be fighting Roman, right? So I think that takes both of them out of the equation. That then leaves me with, okay, I think Cody would be fighting probably Randy, assuming Cody is still champ at this time. I think Cody would be fighting Randy at Mania. And I think that Gunther, if I was going to guess, will be fighting John Cena. So, and there's also the third option, which is that John Cena and Randy Orton fight each other at WrestleMania. And then I have no freaking idea who's winning these matches. So I'm going to take Roman out of the equation because I don't think there's a world where he wins the Rumble to fight Cody. I think it's going to go a different way if that's where we go. It's kind of weird. I can't imagine Roman Reigns being in the Royal Rumble ever again. And then on the flip side of that, on Raw, if it's not John Cena, I don't know who's fighting Gunther at Mania right now. Mainly because you haven't made his world title reign about him whatsoever, Triple H. That's one of my biggest booking knocks against you for the year. I am going to go with the person I want it to be out of my reasonable options. And I am going to go with John Cena. I think John Cena is winning the Royal Rumble.
Wow. All right. Well, myself, I'm a little bit more skeptical of the John angle. It was considered, but I think John is not one of those people who wants to come back and then instantly get their flowers. I think John's going to be wrestling throughout the entire year. He's going to want to feel like he's going to earn it, which he said before last year. He said, I could come back and challenge you, but I haven't earned it. And so I think him coming back into a Rumble spot is a little bit of that not earning it. And instead, I think I am going to take a wrestler who's already the first person to point at the non-existent WrestleMania sign. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And yes, this man has gotten into a feud recently, but I do not think that is going to stop his WrestleMania pursuits. I think we're going to see our man Phil. We're going to see CM Punk win the Royal Rumble. He was supposed to last year. I think he's now going to this year, be it he doesn't injure himself midway through the match.
Blame Drew McIntyre.
I agree. I think it's going to be CM Punk winning this match. I think because he was supposed to win last year and he got injured, they are going to run it back and let him win it again with it this year. I think he wins. He challenges Gunther at WrestleMania. He beats Gunther. because I think John Cena and Randy Orton will be facing each other at WrestleMania because they have both expressed that as their dream match that they want to do at WrestleMania. And since this is John's last run, I feel like Triple H is going to give him what he wants. How we're going to get to that match, I don't know. I don't know how they go make it a feud thing, make it a dream match situation. Like we just two people who just want to fight and do it and see what happens. Whatever. But it will be John Cena versus Randy Orton, I believe, at WrestleMania. But I do think CM Punk's winning Royal Rumble this year to make up for not winning last year, and so he can go and fight Gunther and win. That's it.
Well, let me ask you a really important question before we switch off, because I do think this is something that we need to ask. Do we think there is a world where either Gunther or Cody is not the world champ going into Mania? Because part of me thinks, and this is more on the SmackDown end actually, or I guess probably Raw soon, the WWE title. Part of me thinks that there's a world where Cody's going to lose this belt to Kevin Owens, and we're going to have a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn WWE title program, and then we're going to get a triple threat with Roman, Rock, and Cody. I could see that as well. I don't know if that's really likely, but I think there's a lot of options there.
I mean, I think it's a possibility that Cody does not have the belt going into WrestleMania. I think Kevin could honestly, I think Kevin should have won the belt at Saturday Night Main Event, but that's just my personal opinion.
Talk your talk.
It is a possibility. I think they let Kevin wins the belt off of Cody. And I don't know if we have a situation with Cody, Rock, and Roman. I don't think Cody is even involved in that situation because it has nothing to do with Cody. So I think we'll go into it will be more likely to have a Kevin, Sammy, Cody situation at WrestleMania instead of Cody being involved in the Rock and Roman situation, because that makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Like, why is Cody even involved in this situation? Like, I thought you were done with the Bloodline.
Every time I've seen Cody involved with the Bloodline since WrestleMania.
Right. And I just want to say why every time. Why? It makes no sense. But we have not seen Cody involved in the Bloodline in quite a while now. So ever since that, what was it? Bad Blood?
Bad Blood, I think.
Bad Blood.
Yeah.
So we hadn't seen Cody involved in the Bloodline situation since Bad Blood. So I hope that continues and keep it far away from Cody because it really has nothing to do with him. So I would rather see him be in the three. If we go do a triple threat match, Kevin, Cody, Sammy, or just take Sammy out of the equation and have it be Kevin and Cody at WrestleMania. But I can see Kevin winning.
I just need to have Kevin and Sammy get actual time at Mania when they have their match this time.
Yeah, I would love to join a full consensus here. Unfortunately, I have to rain on all the parades here because, unfortunately for us, WWE does not really enjoy putting the mega strap booster rocket on Kevin Owens. Even though his talent deserves it, he's unbelievably capable in the ring. But while you have white hot Hogan, white hot Bruno Sammartino, and they're doing the babyface thing, it's going to require quite an unbelievable heel to take that down. And I don't think Kevin is going to be that heel. If we're going to see anything, I do think it's going to be at Mania, and we're probably going to need either someone dripped in Samoan. I sure hope not. I'm with everyone else that's been rehashed. Hopefully we get an exceptional heel. I would even think, what if we lost Gunther the title, and then Gunther was able to fight Cody or something like that? Just, something unbelievable. We need a heel of a greater magnitude than Kevin Owens, even though he surely deserves it. But that's just me. I would love to see Kevin win, but I mean, are we really going to bet against Cody's run this year? I'm not, me personally.
We shall see.
If we know anything about long-term booking.
We shall just see. I think there's definitely a world where it could be anybody. Really, honestly, like out of the upper echelon of people holding that world title that are kind of hovering around it right now. But we don't know. We could really see anybody, and I'm excited to see it.
But what we can move on to is the women, which I will say is still a big I don't know. So Who do we think is winning the women's Royal Rumble? Wes, we'll start with you this time.
All right. Well, we shall see. I'm going to go with a little bit more of an ambitious one because it's all going to depend on if she makes her return at the Rumble. Because if she makes her return at the Rumble, she is winning the Rumble.
AJ Lee.
I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair as a Rumble return, a Rumble winner, and whatever she challenges, she's winning the title. And that's where I'm at. And also, by the way, quick thing about the men's, the number 2 opponent is going to be Seth freaking Rollins. It will be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, final 2. Just to throw that in.
Okay. All right.
Talk your talk, sir.
I would.
I feel very differently on the Women's Royal Rumble.
Okay.
I think up until about 2 weeks ago, I wasn't sure. Now I know who's winning this match. I have no doubt in my mind who is winning this match.
Okay.
I am full aboard Team Trash Can. It's going to be Io Sky. And like after that segment, I don't want what I think is going to happen. I think Liv should beat Rhea clean in their match at Netflix on January 6th. However, I unfortunately do not think Triple H shares the same sentiment, and he refuses to let Rhea Ripley lose the match clean, and therefore I think Rhea's taking that belt off Liv, and I think we are getting Io and Rhea at WrestleMania, and I think that's going to start with Io winning the Royal Rumble.
And then Tiffany Stratton's cashing in Money in the Bank, and Dom's coming with her.
And also, to be clear, on the SmackDown side, I'm of 2 minds as to what that match is going to be. I think it could either be Tiffany and Nia, which seems like the easy option, but what I want it to be, and they are actively testing my patience with how long they have been running this will Tiffany cash in on Nia crap, is Tiffany cashes in, fails her cash in, Nia loses the belt to Naomi clean, right? And then we get Bianca versus Naomi at WrestleMania for the Women's World Title. That's what I want. That is what I need. But that's just, it make my soul feel pretty nice, if that makes any sense.
I have so many scenarios running through my head about what could possibly happen in this Royal Rumble. And I think if we're looking at the Raw side of it, and I think Raw is going to be the winner of the Royal Rumble, for some reason I feel like Raw is going to win this Royal Rumble. That side will win it. And if that is the case, I love Io. I love Io. I really am a fan of Io. I don't know why they had Io win the United States Champion tournament this past week on Raw, not United States, Intercontinental. I don't know why.
Quick note to the fans at home: as of time of recording, that match has yet to air on television.
It has yet to air, but
yeah, it's been all over. It's been all over.
Over. She beats Natty, unfortunately, which I'm like, are you serious? Like, Natty should have won that match. It hadn't aired yet. I'm annoyed with that. I don't know why they are pushing her in this tournament at all. I don't even know why she's even in this tournament, because she should be squarely in the women's championship conversation, period. It doesn't matter. So she shouldn't even be up for discussion for this Intercontinental Championship. It could have went to anybody else. Anybody else.
Fully agree.
But so I don't want her in that. And I don't want her to win the Royal Rumble. I don't want her to win this Royal Rumble. I don't think she needs to, but I don't want her to. I feel like the Raw side is kind of irritating. It's very irritating to me because it's so many different ways they could go, and I don't think they're going to go with any of that. This could be a time for them to push somebody new up the ladder and let somebody else start coming up and maybe getting that spot. And showing like, okay, yeah, we got more talented people than the 3 or 4 people
or
that
someone
we use.
returning.
Or someone returning, or even though her returning drives me nuts if she comes back and wins it, because
Me too.
I don't see a place for her right now on the Mania card in a Mania title match, because I hate to remind people, right? Assuming the world is still Rhea is going to be Rhea with the women's world title. We've been there, done that at Mania twice. I'm good. Okay. And if they are not under any circumstances going to run Charlotte Flair versus either Nia Jax or Tiffany Stratton, which are the 2 easy options for the women's world title right now. I think if Charlotte comes back before Mania, which I think she probably will, full T, I think we're going to finally get Charlotte Becky at Mania this year, because Becky is all but confirmed for the January 6th episode of Raw. So that just makes more sense to me. I just don't get how Charlotte factors into the title picture right now, and like where she factors in. And yes, the answer is she's Charlotte Flair. She's always in the title picture. I get it.
right.
But
Yeah.
like,
Well, it's kind of like back when we used to say, I wonder where Brock Lesnar fits in this.
Yes. Anywhere he freaking wants to.
We never said that. Anywhere he wants.
Anywhere he freaking wants to. And that's Charlotte.
that,
She is just anywhere she freaking wants to be. She's in that conversation. So that, when you said it, Wes, I literally had a visceral reaction to it. I was like, no, not Charlotte. But I could see it happening. I could actually see it happening. And if she does, she does. I don't want Io to win this, but I think she's gonna win this. And that drives me nuts too, because I don't think she needs to win this. I think she should just be permanently in that discussion and have opportunity to go for it. But I agree with you, Brook. What went down on Raw and Rhea and this Io Rhea connection that they're having, this moment, we love to see a good love moment turn crazy. And now we used to like each other. Now we don't like each other. And so I can see it happening. Now for the SmackDown side, it gets a little bit more complicated, because I feel like if Jade is to come back before the Rumble, which I don't think is happening, I would want to see Jade win this Rumble, because I hate how people are talking about how Jade's not ready. She's still green. She's still this. I want Jade to prove everybody wrong. But
you see, her gear is blue, y'all. It's not green. It's usually blue.
Silver. But like, I also need, if we're going to do this whole Jade, Bianca, Naomi situation, because I feel like Naomi did it. I just, in my mind of minds, Naomi attacked Jade. And I'm very confident in that. I think Naomi attacked Jade, because now she's the champion, and with Bianca, like, it was too easy to slide up in there. And so I just really feel like she did it. And oh my God, my whole head canon would be Bianca knew about it, and she kind of was like, yeah, get her. So we have a double heel turn in Naomi and Bianca, and they are both heels, and they go into the Royal Rumble somehow, some way. I don't know how it's going to happen, but either Naomi take the belt off of Nia, or Bianca take the belt off. One of them need to take the belt off Nia. Jade wins the Royal Rumble. One of them fighting each other at the Royal Rumble. I just need it to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but so on the SmackDown side, I would say Jade comes back, wins the Royal Rumble. Not likely, but that's what I want. So there's that.
All right.
We move from the Royal Rumble to
also 1 second. I have to add something in here too. If Charlotte Flair does not come back, I could also easily see a Naomi Rumble here.
Ooh,
if Naomi
love
wins
that.
the Royal Rumble and Bianca was the person that attacked Jade, I am sat fully for that. I would be so excited.
I would love every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love every second of it.
Let's go.
Let's go to the Money in the Bank. Now, here's where we all just floundered last year. We had no idea. Nothing that we predicted happened. And you know what? I think it's probably going to be the same way, because Money in the Bank is so freaking unpredictable. and I have no idea. I have no idea.
I have
But
thoughts.
thoughts, yes. Ideas,
Yeah.
yes. But go ahead, Brook.
Okay.
What's your thoughts?
Okay. Men's Money in the Bank match, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like here lately, at least the past couple years, we have been treated very kindly with Money in the Bank outside of Austin Theory, right? The men's Money in the Bank, it's not been a guy who's been like super annoying, and it's not been like a really detestable heel who's like, I have a guaranteed world title match anytime I want for 8 months, like the Miz did when he was Money in the Bank. And like Ziggler did when he had Money in the Bank, like that kind of energy. We haven't had that in a minute. And even then, Theory was just a goofball, and we never believed him as a world title contender anyway. So I thought about it, and I realized there is really only two options to win Money in the Bank this year. And as much as I would love for it to be Dirty Dominic Mysterio, I am gonna say, and I don't want this to be true, but I just want to get this prediction right. I think Logan Paul is winning Money in the Bank.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ!
I think Logan Paul is winning Money in the Bank this year. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong so badly. But quite frankly, can you name a more annoying person to have this briefcase? I don't think so.
I can, but I don't think it's happening. But go ahead, was.
Yeah, that's tough. That's kind of like me and Charlotte Flair winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
It's the choice you don't want to have to make, but I can
Visceral.
see your angle. I'm going to live and decide to live with this Money in the Briefcase with pure hopium. I'm going to go back to my day one wrestling fan roots. I'm going to pretend that this is all not booked with the idea of making me upset in mind. And so with that, I firstly am going to shout out who I would really like to win the Money in the Bank. And that is someone who's not in the WWE right now, but could easily immediately get pushed to the moon because he is by far the best lucha talent wrestling today. Sorry, I'm not sorry. It's my boy Pentagon. It is Penta al Zero Miedo. Zero fear, people. It could be
whatever his WWE name will be.
That's true. It'll probably be Pentagon something. But
Pentagon
I will still go with my man.
Blue.
Yeah, he'll be something. Maybe Azul. Maybe, we've seen it before. But importantly, I think he might win the Money in the Bank coming off of a Royal Rumble return. If that does not occur, and maybe he shows up earlier, maybe he shows up later, the other person I have to shout out, because this would just be unbelievable. And it would be insane and shocking. And I think it would create the best Money in the Bank year span of how it would be used and how it would look. And that is if any member of the Wyatt Six won a Money in the Bank. I think it could be incredibly intimidating, and you could do a storyline of them basically hunting or stalking the world champion, and just thinking about, like, I don't know, putting Bray Wyatt's face on that briefcase, like some morbid, terror. Oh, I'd love it. So that's my other shout I have to give.
That actually
any member of the Wyatt Six.
That actually kind of eats. I would love to see that.
Do you have a preference for which member of the Wyatt Six?
Ooh.
Because personally, if that were the angle we were going, I do have a preference out of that group.
I'm intrigued. What would it be? I don't know if I do.
By far, Dexter Lumis. Absolutely Dexter Lumis. As much as I love every single member of that group, you cannot tell me that if I was going to put one of them in like the main event spot out of them, that Lumis would probably not be the most competent to do that. I am aware that Uncle Howdy is the leader, and statistically it would probably be him. But like, I don't know, Lumis just has this energy about him every time he's in the ring. He is always compelling. So that'd be who I'd pick. That's just me.
And I don't hate Nikki either.
Well, she's been there, done that.
Yeah, she's won that.
And
but, man,
well, Punk's
Which is different.
twice, and Edge cashed in twice. So I mean, sure,
always could happen. But no, I think Uncle Howdy's the obvious selection out of them all. But shout outs if we were able to get, again, any member of the Wyatt Six. It could be a really interesting story.
I agree.
What about you, Lana?
For me, I don't think they're gonna do it. But Brooke, you asked the question: is there anybody as annoying who will be just as frustrating and just as irritating as Logan Paul holding the briefcase? Yes. I don't think they're going to do it because it's too close to what the situation was last year, but Finn Balor will be just as annoying, just as frustrating, just as irritating holding that briefcase. Now, I don't think they're going to do that because Judgment Day shouldn't and can't win the Money in the Bank 2 years in a row. I just don't think they
They're
would
gonna
do
break up
that.
before Money in the Bank.
They probably will be broken up by the end. You're right. So maybe Finn Balor. Maybe Finn Balor. I wouldn't be too mad at Finn Balor having the Money in the Bank. Because honestly, I keep saying he does deserve his chance. But he had a chance and he lost it. So there's that. But who going into my chest of hope, as Wes was like, the hope of it all. I would hope and I would love, even though we've seen it before, and this person has done it before, I would love to see the return of Big E at Money in the Bank and he wins it again.
I just want to see him in the ring again.
I just want to see him in the ring again. I want to either he wins Money in the Bank or he comes back in the Royal Rumble. I just need Big E back. But I don't know if Money in the Bank, when him winning Money in the Bank, would make sense to what the story needs to be because he needs to make New Day's life hell for what they did. Like, I would stop. Rewind. Hold the presses. Here we go. I've been thinking about this since the whole New Day situation happened. If Big E can't come back into the ring, what if something happens and they put Big E in the general manager position and he torments New Day like like when Vicky Guerrero was the general manager and she picked her person who she just hated and she just put them in stupid match after stupid match after stupid match. Or I would love to have Big E come in and we'd be like, oh yeah, Big E, positivity, Big E. And he just, the low down is just do the dirtiest stuff to New Day because they deserve it for what they did to him. Like they deserve it. That was one thing, but I would rather see him back in the ring. But that's neither here nor there. I can see him coming back to the Money in the Bank.
Even if we see him back in the ring, what about like an Xavier Woods Money in the Bank?
Ooh,
I predicted it last year.
You did.
And I will tell you right now, I will again say he will be a world champion before he retires. He is too good on the mic, and he is way too damn good at everything else he does.
And they're finally doing something with him.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you right now, my current thought process with New Day is that they're going to be faced again by WrestleMania because I think this is building to a long-term reconciliation that will culminate with the tag title win at Mania. And I know a lot of other people don't think that, and I totally get it because the heat they're getting on Raw right now is nuclear.
Yes.
Like they're getting booed worse than Dom, which is
crazy.
But I don't know. I think it's a tough call with New Day, which is honestly just as tough of a call if I look at the women's Money in the Bank. Because, dear God,
it could go either way. Honestly, it's a lot of different ways that Money in the Bank for the women can go.
Well, considering who I think will be champ around this time, right? Around when Money in the Bank happens and who I think could win it, I'm going to pick somebody who ideally will have been called up in the draft from NXT. And again, my fantasy world, and we're all living in it. And I think that this person won't need a ton of seasoning in NXT. They've been down there long enough, carrying that women's division for the better part of 2 years. Been the world champ twice. I mean, again, I don't need to list off her accolades. We all know I'm talking about Roxanne Perez. she's the best pick, I think, at this point. I could see a world where it's maybe Zelina Vega because I think that would be a fantastic choice. I would love for it to be Dakota Kai. I don't think they're going to go that route. But I think if I was going to pick my odds-on pick, I would pick Roxanne Perez.
That's actually a really good pick.
You know what? I wish in realism I had a better pick than that. I don't. Roxanne Perez is the clear winner, but instead I'm going to have that as my pick. Roxanne Perez is the right choice. Yes. It's the safe choice. It's the only person who could maybe come up and like really feel impactful, specifically in the Money in the Bank slot, giving her one of those rocket straps that you'd think she's going to get after being such a dominant force in women's NXT. But with the hopium of Zero Miedo coming back to wrestling, because I'm sorry, AEW, my bad. But going to the Fed, doing some unbelievable wrestling here. With that being said, I have to imagine that unfortunately he's going to get caught up in the zeitgeist of the mid card of LWO to some degree, maybe on the Legato side, maybe not. I hope not, but they might try to use him as a centerpiece to launch them into some type of popularity. It works for some factions. You bring back somebody insane. So with that, I will mention, just like Brook did, Zelina Vega, which is if Zero Miedo comes back and maybe he doesn't win Money in the Bank, it's possible that they would maybe have Zelina because Zelina's getting another great moment in the sunshine because of the new eyes on the LWO.
We picked Zelina last year. We had a lot of hope for Zelina last year, and I think she's done really well this year. I want her to do better. I want them to book her better because she deserves it for sure. But I don't think there's anybody other than Roxanne Perez that's a better bet, and I would love to see Zelina. Love her to come up and get this, and I think she would do amazing with it. But I think Roxanne will be that person that we were looking for on the men's side, who's going to be obnoxious with that briefcase. She's going to tease it so much with so many different times, and she's going to be like, I outsmarted you. She is going to give us what Tiffany Stratton thinks she's giving us, because Tiffany's getting on my nerves with it. I think Roxanne will be actually better at the teasing and then the pulling back. And it's like, nope. Not yet. On my time, I got the briefcase. Like, she's not going to be cowering behind any champion. She's going to be all up in their face and give all kind of grief. But I think Roxanne is the best choice. And so that's my pick for winning Money in the Bank.
I mean, also, are we surprised? Because let's think back. Someone who's annoying, very confident, flaunts maybe their titles in people's faces, but then outsmarts them and is a real brat about it. I mean, she's worked with and been coached by CM Punk how long? He's married to who? Her idol is who?
Who she trained under?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Mr. five time himself. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just saying.
They're all doing John Cena. I can't remember the Booker T is like this, right? Yeah, this thing. Yep. Yeah.
It's a good choice. I think I would love. I want to see the rise of Roxanne on the main roster. I think she will be a great addition to the main roster, and I think she's going to succeed very well. Very well.
And if she doesn't win Money in the Bank, she is going to be one hell of a women's U.S. champ next year.
Period.
So true. And I'm going to say it. You know who needs her to come up? Lyra Valkyria. Because I think what's going to get Lyra over and get her pushed to the moon is her bringing back NXT beef with Roxanne Perez.
A lot of options there, y'all.
Very lot. Look, the next question. Next question. Oh, I thought that was the next question. It's not. But jumping ship. Who's jumping ship? Who's going from AEW to WWE, and who's going from WWE to AEW?
Well, I'm going to add in a third option this year. Who's going from TNA to WWE? Because that list is growing by the day.
I'm about to say a lot of them because that partnership is just a pipeline from TNA to WWE and back and forth.
Well, that plus what just happened on Friday with the person who just came back at Final Resolution, who I will not say her name on the timeline because screw her. But if you know, you know. And we already know that a lot of people have left and have announced that they are leaving the company. We know that Jordan Grace is leaving TNA at the end of the year. We know that Kushida, Josh Alexander, their ring announcer, whose name Jay Chung, all of them have announced that they're leaving. We know that Mike Bailey has already left. So like you look at that and somebody else just announced that they were leaving this morning. Used to be at WWE. I can't remember who it is. Regardless, a lot of people have announced that they are leaving TNA. I look at the people that could go to WWE from that group, and I think that's most of them. I cannot see a world where if Josh Alexander is available to go to NXT and reunite with Ethan Page and show me another round of the North, I can't see that not happening. Jordan Grace is going to WWE. We already knew that. Joe Hendry's contract expires next year, not at the beginning of the year, but later into 2025. He's going to be in the Rumble this year. So I suspect Joe Hendry at some point as well. But when it comes to the WWE to AEW pipeline, that's an entirely different discussion.
Okay.
I mean, okay, well, obviously the first answer is Pentagon Jr., and that may happen before the end of the year. So we'll just say Penta, more than likely by January 6th, but it could happen before then. Whenever his contract expires, Phoenix is also probably going to be coming right behind him, and so is Ricky Starks. I think those are the three free answers from AEW to WWE. WWE to AEW, I don't know. Because I think last year it was kind of easy to say, well, AJ Styles isn't being used on TV and, he has a lot of friends in AEW. But at the same time now, we're seeing a lot of the negative things coming out about AEW. The honeymoon phase is over, right? Yeah. And I think we're getting to that point where a lot of people would rather work for TNA. A lot of people might want to go to New Japan. Yeah. I mean, hell, Mustafa Ali left WWE in 2023, has not touched 1 second of AEW television, and I guarantee you there has been an offer at some point. So considering who's available, I'm gonna say nobody. Maybe some NXT people, if they get released, will show up in AEW, but I couldn't tell you a single person that is currently signed to WWE that I think if they get released, that would go to AEW.
I don't know if they go to AEW. I think that, like you said, they go to New Japan. They go to other TNA or they do other independent circuits. I don't think AEW is giving they want it to give. They even if it's more, even if they get a lot of money offered to them, the treatment and I don't think they just like the way AEW is being run right now. And so I feel like you said, Mustafa could have easily went to AEW. I think I'm sure the offer was there, but I don't think he likes the treatment there. A lot of people have said the treatment in AEW is not what they want, and so they leave and then they go do independent circuits, which is fine, which is great. You got to be happy, and they're like, I don't care how much the money is. If I'm not happy, it ain't worth being there. So I think I agree with you. I don't know anybody in WWE who might jump ship to AEW. If they do leave, they might go other places, but I don't think AEW might be the place to go.
Yeah, it's kind of tough this year too, because if you do any digging, because I just did a little digging, I was interested. This is not the year of released contracts, really, for either company. Almost all of the outstanding contracts are until 2026. I don't know why on the documentation is that case, but almost everyone has a contract until 2026, and the people who do, we kind of already know about. Maybe the only person who should really be considered for jumping ship this year, and it's kind of a freebie, so, me next year, don't take any credit for this. This is obvious. This is just breathing, but obviously, if Pentagon is going to the Fed. Ray Fenix, who is only being held back at AEW because of injury, will probably be at the Fed and holding tag gold. Not surprising, but is simple elementary. Of course, we're probably going to see a bunch of TNA call-ups, but I will say we probably, if we're going to get so much TNA population, we don't have infinite money. Even if that Netflix deal was super nice, we are probably going to see a wave of releases. I don't know which names are going to, surprise us, but we're probably going to have to see a few surprising names. Again, we lost Dolph, so it's hard to tell.
Well, and I think that's something that's really interesting because if I remember correctly, we didn't get that many releases this year. I mean, we saw Baron Corbin got released with Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox. The three of them got released a few months ago. But outside of that, I don't recall there being like a mass release date like there was in 2023. So, I mean, we're kind of due for one, and I hate to say that. And I'm not saying we're due in like it needs to happen. It's probably going to happen relatively shortly, and it's not something we want to happen, but it probably will. And even to be fair, Baron Corbin didn't even get released. They just chose not to renew his contract. So like, and I don't know if that was the case with Tegan and Indy. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we lost a few people in the next year. I mean, we lost Ricochet this past year. He went to AEW. None of us called that, which in retrospect, we probably should have. But like, none of us even put it into the cards. So, I mean, outside of the three people we know that either want to leave AEW and are going to WWE already, the only other name I can think of is maybe Miro. The former Rusev coming back to WWE because he's made it clear he also wants out of his AEW contract. But outside of those four, I don't know.
Who's being treated like Ricochet was? It's hard for me to think of one, but if we had to throw out a name, right? If we had to throw out a name, I personally could see, I mean, because it'd be a little shocking, but I could see someone like Dakota Kai slipping through the cracks if we just keep missing on opportunities, being a part of Damage Control, but not really getting to share in any of the success or the limelight of everyone else in the group. I could see a real problem there developing. And on the men's side, it's even harder. And I was going to have something to say here, but I was completely shut up because Shinsuke Nakamura, who I thought might not go to AEW, but back to Japan, got a championship. Yeah. And so the one person I was really sneaking a suspicion about is like, oh, he's leaving. His efforts dropping, his titles are dropping, his place in the cards dropping. Nope. And now he's a whole different breed of superstar. So hard to say.
There's a world where I see Apollo Crews leaving, and I think that's like the biggest name I can think of. I think.
I mean, I see a world where Austin Theory leaves, and I see a world where even Grayson Waller leaves because their role has been less and less and less on TV, and so I can see a world where they actually. At first, I'm with you. I was gonna, not Shinsuke, but I was gonna say the War Raiders. I could have saw a world where they would end up leaving, but now they have a title, so it's like, okay, shut that up.
I'm happy for them, by the way.
I'm very happy for them. I'm very happy for them.
I wish we had the like "War is over" audio here. Because like the tag team title reign from hell has finally ended. Thank God.
I love that.
Thank you, Eric and I, for that.
But yeah, and Damien, thank you. But yeah, I don't know. I think we are due eventually for a mass, releasing happening. But
and if anything, the contracts make it look like 2026 will be that year.
Yeah, maybe.
Because an outstanding majority of contracts are for 2026. So,
well, let's move on to who's getting called up. From NXT in 2025. We were pretty good about this one too on the predictions last season, and I think it's much clearer now. Well, with NXT, who I feel like is getting called up. I think it's just like, okay, yep, this is happening. And it needs to happen. Like, some of these people definitely need to be called up. But I'll go first since I let y'all go first on the other one. On the men's side, for sure, I think Obafemi is coming up, and I think he needs to come up. I think Obafemi is coming up. I think Trick Williams is going to come up, because I think they're going to let Ethan Page run NXT for a while, which is fine, which is great. I think Trick did a great job with him doing it when he was the face of NXT for a while. I think he did a great job. Him coming up. I hope they don't put them Trick back and have him beefing with Carmelo again, because like, why? But whatever. I think he's gonna come up. I feel like Axiom and what's the
Nathan
tag team
Frazier.
partner's name?
Nathan Frazier.
Yeah, I think they probably come up. Which
Fraxium on the main roster, baby.
I would love that. I think they should come up. I think, right, as much as I love Wesley, and I think he should stay in NXT, because I feel like what he's doing now in NXT with, it's so good. But I wouldn't mind him coming up, but I kind of still like him in NXT. That's who I think from the men. Well, at the little list that I have, but it's probably so much more.
What about the women? Who are you thinking are the women?
Lash and Jakara is coming up. Lash and Jakara is coming up. I'm calling that now. They're coming up. They've been in on the main roster several times already. I think they're coming up. I think Soruka probably comes up. We already know Roxanne Perez is coming up. She should come up. But I think Soruka should come up too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of women. It's a lot of women who could come up, but I think that's it for me.
Okay. So starting with the women, because my list for women is pretty short, to be honest with you. Not because there aren't women who are ready. I just think there are people who they want to have more time to cook down there. So obviously Roxanne Perez will be coming up very shortly. Lash and Jakara, I'm fully on board with that. The other person I think, I'm kind of surprised I'm saying this, because a while back I would not have said this. I think Tatum Paxley is ready for the main roster now. After what she's been doing here lately, I think she's ready to go. However, I don't think she's going to get called up early in the year. I could see her being like an October, November call up. Like, oh, a few people got injured. Let's call up Tatum and try to get things going on Raw or something like that. And that's pretty much it for the women. I think there are some other people who could be ready shortly, but I don't know if, especially like Kalani Jordan is like the first person that's popping in my head. But I need a Kalani Jordan NXT Women's title reign first, so I'm not ready for her to leave yet. So besides her, moving to the men, I think very obviously, I think there's a few people who are like top of my head. These guys are getting called up. Champion among them being Fraxium. I think it's about damn time. Because I've been saying it for years. They are two of the best signed talent to this company. Please, dear God, don't drop the ball again, please. They're both great. I think they've been like honestly tag team of the year for me. So they're fantastic. I think they are ready to go. I think Andre Chase might finally get to go to the main roster. I think Chase U is dead. Chase U is done. We have had a funeral and everything. I think it is finally time for Andre Chase to move to the main roster, because he's been ready. It's just been this gimmick has not let him leave NXT. I think now is the time. And then I don't think Obafemi is going to the main roster this year. I think he's going to be the guy on top of NXT for a bit, and at least not until like the draft. I don't see him getting called up before the draft. So because of that, and I think he's about to win the NXT title and at New Year's Evil, I think he's taking it off of Trick. I think Trick's going to get called up. Besides them, I really don't know of anybody else that I'd be like, yeah, this is a good time to call them up. Maybe Sean Spears, because I like that guy a lot. My boy Ty Dillinger. I need to do the 10 Royal Rumble again, because I didn't get to do it ages ago. But besides him, I can't really think of anybody else. So I'd be like, yeah, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm similar opinions. But I do have one interesting take that has not been mentioned, and that is Jordan Grace. Because if you think about it, I think that Jordynne Grace is going to be put on NXT for a little bit, already having a relationship there when she comes to the Fed. I think her landing spot is going to be NXT first. I think TNA is going to have that relationship where it's kind of at NXT first. But I think Jordynne Grace is going to destroy NXT, crush NXT, Asuka NXT. And then maybe in November or October, November, December, we are going to see Jordynne Grace come up and be ready for that Rumble title Mania next year, 2026 type of feel.
The Tiffany Stratton.
So my big call up is going to be Jordynne Grace.
I mean, I think Jordynne Grace can win Rumble next year, honestly.
I think she could win it in January, like a few weeks from now. She is that girl. No, I don't think she will.
I don't think she will. But I think she is a really good person to be in that position next year, though. Like, for sure. I'm calling it now for 2026. Jordynne Grace. She's winning the Royal Rumble in 2026.
That's my girl. That's my queen. I'm excited.
I would love it. I would love to see it.
Who's ready for Jordynne Grace versus Charlotte Flair?
Oh, stop!
Okay,
moving.
Actually, can we give me Jordynne Grace versus Rhea Ripley, please? That
would be amazing. That would be great. But dream matches we want to see in 2025. We need to see it. Not we just want. We need to see it. Brooke. You look like you're about to bust out of your seat.
I'm going to do one men's match, one women's match, because I feel like that's reasonable. Because there are so many that I have wanted to see for years, but I'm going to keep it short. I need to see in a fatal four-way, because these are the four perfect men to do this, okay? I don't care why they're in a four-way. Just put them in a four-way. It'd make me happy, okay? I need to see the following men. I need to see Chad Gable, okay? Because Chad Gable can wrestle with any person on the planet, and quite frankly, I'm surprised that they don't book him as well as they should. But Chad Gable, I need to see Sami Zayn, okay? I need to see Sheamus, and most importantly, I need to see Gunther. If you put the four of these men in a fatal four-way under any circumstance, it will be perfection. I guarantee it. On the women's side, again, selfish booking here. I have been dying for Liv Morgan versus Charlotte Flair. And I know everybody's going to be like, Brooke, you hate Charlotte. I do hate Charlotte. I really do. Cannot stand her booking. Don't know her as a person, but her booking annoys me. But I feel like people forget so many years ago now. I think it was like 2016. Liv originally, before she got involved in the whole Bobby Lashley, Rusev, Lana thing, which the less we talk about that, the better. She was off TV for like a year, and her last match she had on TV before that was against Charlotte on a SmackDown, and they had like a segment before it where Charlotte told her she wasn't real and she was putting on a character for the fans, and then Liv, after that match, she grabs a mic and says, I'm leaving, and when I come back, I'm going to be real, right? And we never got a follow-up on that. And I know that it's been ages. And I know a lot of people probably forgot that even happened. But for me, getting a conclusion to that story where Charlotte and Liv like rehash this, right? And, Liv will be like, well, Charlotte, you tore your ACL. And while you've been gone for a year, look what I did. I was women's world champ for 9 months, or however long she was women's world champ for by the time her reign's over. Like, I got to do all of this. This one title reign is longer than most of yours, right? And just kind of build this feud up of like Charlotte being like, I mean, I guess you're real now, but like, I think you could have a face Charlotte versus a heel Liv. I would rather the roles be flipped, obviously. But I need to see it for me, selfishly.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Women's side dream match, I'm going to simply summarize with Roxanne Perez versus the known top women. A little bit of a cheat, but I've been waiting and pining for Roxanne Perez to actually get her shot on the main roster. So if she does get that call-up, there are so many dream matches there. I mean, Charlotte Flair, unfortunately, is included in that, but like there are just so many with the new talent, with the top stars that we've had. Roxanne Perez versus all of them would be fantastic. But the men's side for me, there are two that I would want to shout out here. And one of them is actually Andrade versus Penta. Would be one of the ones that I would really want to shout out because of their Lucha days, because of their AAA days. I am a Penta fan. I have went and watched some of the AAA material. I also can shout out Santos Escobar as well. Just any mixture of those talents allowed to be in singles glory, past their pathetic factions. Like, don't relegate them to the mid card. Let them fight before Rey Fenix takes over the tag division with Penta. Give me some unbelievable dream matches that will make me feel that AAA again. Ever since Rey Mysterio blackballed us, but my second one, and I think the one that I would want more than anything in the world, if I could have any match, is Josh Alexander versus Gunther, 2025. If we get to see Josh Alexander make an appearance, if he has to fight anybody on the Fed, I'm picking Gunther because Gunther delivers unbelievable matches, and that would be insane.
See, I hate to interrupt before you do, but I didn't even consider people that weren't signed with the company. Assuming that Josh Alexander does sign with WWE, give me Josh Alexander versus Chad Gable, please. Thank you.
Okay. For me, on the women's side, there's two. One is likely, one probably can happen eventually. Likely, Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. I need to see that. I want to see that. That's likely going to happen at some point, and I will be sat and enjoying every second of it. My second match that could happen at some point is Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. I need to see that. I want to see that. I'm here for that. I just want to see it happen. And I know y'all like, oh, you just want to see Bianca. I just want to see Bianca. Sure.
She's your girl. She's your fave.
Sure. That's who I want to see. That's who I want to see. Is it other women who I want to see? Absolutely. But that's who I want to see right now. And so there we go. For the men, there are two as well. One is probably going to happen this year, which is John Cena and Randy Orton. That probably happens this year. I want to see that match. I need to see that match. Two of my favorites, two of my daddies. I want to see them, period. Want to see it. The other one, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I wouldn't mind it happening. And that's Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser. I want to see Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser. I have been so impressed with Ludwig Kaiser lately. And I am really, 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 really liking what I'm seeing from him. And I want to see him go and get to that point where he like, I'm sick of being behind Gunther. I'm sick of being your hype man. I'm sick of that. Even though he's doing his own thing and he is having his singles run, he's still the man behind Gunther. I need him to step out from being the man behind Gunther and just be that man. And I would love to see him beat Gunther. I don't know if it's for a championship or not, but I would love to see him do it because I feel like when he steps out from behind Gunther, it shakes Gunther to the core. Like, wait, we was together. We was tight. What you mean? Like, I don't know. I just want to see it happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love for that match to happen.
Sure thing. Also, a couple more quick shout-outs. Anything involving either Ludwig or Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov's return at the end of the year would be pretty incredible.
Yep.
And then also, shout out to TNA. I would love when Jordynne Grace gets called up, according to my pick, Naomi versus Jordynne Grace again.
Period.
Give it to me in WWE. We've seen it in TNA. It was killer. They have chemistry. Let me see it.
Period.
And not only do they have chemistry out the ass. So, like, please.
Period.
Like, plenty of wrestlers have chemistry. That match, the series of matches they had towards the end of TNA, Naomi's TNA run, literally felt like wrestling soulmates to me. I need to see it. But on the subject of Gunther, can I please get Gunther Ilya Dragunov again? It's
I
been
would
like
love that
3
too.
years, and their series of matches for the NXT UK title are some of my favorite matches in the history of pro wrestling. Please, dear God, let this happen again. It's been too long.
Absolutely.
And
But
also, Tyler
go
Bate
ahead.
and Pete Dunne also can slide in there
Oh,
as well. Make it a
okay.
4-way. I'm set for that.
Works. Okay. So before we wrap this up, we will all get 2 predictions of what we think is going to happen in 2025. You get 2 predictions of just anything PLE worthy or anything that's going to happen in WWE that we think is going to happen. Nothing obvious like WWE is going to move to Netflix. Raw's moving to, we know that. Let's give something we don't know. Let's do something we think is going to happen in 2025 that people might not expect.
Okay, so do we want to do? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to say a little prediction and a big prediction. Because I feel like it's appropriate.
Okay.
So, little prediction. I think personally that this will be the year of tag team wrestling in WWE. I think we have finally got to the point where we got the belts off the Judgment Day. We got a lot of tag teams on SmackDown. That division has been doing great the past few months. The women's tag scene up until Jade got injured, and I cannot blame Jade for that, and I do not blame Jade for that, has been popping off. It's been fantastic. And I mean, we don't know where the world tag title scene is going to go from Raw on here, but at least we have made it through the reign of terror and we are now able to move forward, right? And I think if Triple H gets into his bag like he used to in NXT, this is going to be a tag team wrestling year in WWE. I think we are finally at that point, especially with MCMG now with the company, with Heel DIY doing some stuff on SmackDown, with hopefully a Fraxium call up. Maybe a few other new tag teams coming out. Like, I think this is the time. I think we are finally here. Big, bold prediction for the year. WWE finally acquires TNA. I think it is finally time. And I would not have said that until what happened at Final Resolution on Friday. I think what's going to end up happening is I think a lot of their talent is going. Allegedly, a lot of their talent is leaving because of pay cuts. And typically pay cuts are a sign that something is going wrong with the company. And I think if anybody's buying TNA right now, it is WWE, or more specifically TKO. And I think WWE not only wants that tape library, because we know they love acquiring tape libraries, but also they get to pick who they want to bring aboard the ship if they buy TNA. And there's a lot of talent in TNA that they would love to have. Specifically, Joe Hendry is the name I'm thinking of. But there's other people in TNA that they would also love to scoop up. I think we are finally at that point where it's time for TNA to get bought by WWE.
Okay.
Very well. Well, I'm going to give a small one and a big one. I consider this one the small one, which is Penta is going to appear, win doubles and singles gold next year. First singles, either a United States or Intercontinental Championship.
Does the
and then
speed
later
title
in the year,
count?
No. The speed title will not count. So Penta will either be a U.S. or international champion, and then will be paired with Ray Fenix to win tag gold. And if it's not Ray Fenix, it will be someone else. Lucha. Importantly, though, he will be a singles and tag team gold wrestler by the end of the year. And my big prediction, this is just kind of out of nowhere, but I feel like throwing a haymaker, is a UFC fighter is going to join the WWE. We had Ronda Rousey. We've had Brock Lesnar. It's kind of been a while in the zeitgeist. TKO is closer, and we've seen the UFC be closer to WWE than ever before. And a lot of the UFC is getting old, and it looks like if they're fighting Logan Paul, they want money. That's the only thing or Jake Paul, they want money. And money is where the mouth is. And so I think we might see the next Ronda Rousey. I don't know who it'll be specifically, but we're going to get somebody who's kind of like that real fighter experience making their debut in WWE.
Okay. My small one. I think we're going to get an announcement that I want to say it, but I don't know if I want to say it because
Say
I don't.
it.
I'm.
Say
I think it's possible, but I don't. Okay, my small one. I think we're going to get an announcement that WrestleMania is going to be in the UK very, very soon. I think we're going to get a WrestleMania in the UK very, very soon. Um, it all depends on UK weather and in April, which is kind of if they want to do an outdoor thing, which Wembley probably would be
It'd be
the
Wembley,
arena they
yeah.
would want to do. It's just a matter of the weather. That's the only reason I'm a little shaky on it because April in the UK is kind of sometimes cold, sometimes very wet, and I don't think they want to do that for WrestleMania. But my big one, I don't really know. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. This I don't have a big one. I don't have a big one. I think the biggest thing I can think of is in 2025. You know what? Yes, I do. And I'm going to steal one from Brook from last year. I think we're going to finally get Evolution back this year.
I pray to God you're
I
right.
think because I think Stephanie is making her way back into the company and I think she is going to be the one fighting for the women's division. So I think we can possibly get Evolution back into the PLE scene in 2025. So there you go. That's my big one.
And it'll be in Saudi Arabia just
Oh my God! No. Oh my
Actually,
God!
something that is something I don't think we touched on, but it is something I think would be funny. Who do you all
Oh
think is
my
going to be
God.
the crown jewel champ?
Oh my
Can't even-
God!
can't even-
Look, we didn't talk. We got it. We haven't talked to Crown Jewel champion or King and Queen of the Ring.
We should have
Like,
done that. We should have done that.
King and Queen of the Ring, but
Oh well.
maybe we'll say that for another video.
no one's ready for King Dragunov. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh.
You are spitting.
And then he
Look.
goes and feuds with Gunther because they were both kings.
Well, by the time this video comes out, I just thought about it. By the time we put this video out, it'll be way past because it's going to go out towards the end of the year. So, because closer to the end of the year, absolutely. So yeah, everything. I don't know. King Dragunov sounds cool to me, but maybe we'll do another video. We'll talk about the other PLEs and the other things. We'll definitely have another end of the year video coming very soon to you guys because we want to get all of our thoughts and our predictions and some top 10 moments for the year. So we're gonna get out of here though. We're gonna get out of here. We appreciate you sticking around with us all this time, talking about our end of the year review. Tell us what you think. What is your predictions? All of the questions that we asked, we would love to hear your answers, your thoughts on them. Put them in the comments below. We appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button here, the notification bell. Look in our link tree in the description below where you can get all of our other channels links. You can click those links, our audio podcast links, our Patreon links, and our socials at the Cup Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Blue Sky. You could also get your merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And yeah, have a great year, y'all. 2025 is going to be awesome for you, and it's going to be awesome for wrestling. That's my prediction. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Bye.
We forgot to mention Samantha Irvin this year. RIP.
Because we can't.
Unfortunately.
Bye, y'all.
All right, bye.